Modern men may have been sedated, and it appears on the surface like that's a good thing. However, what if we actually need masculinity and manhood for a thriving society? Let's get into it. My name is Casey. I'm the Rumble Right Dad, and I have been a therapist for more than 13 years, and I can say without question that my personal experience as a therapist has shown me so many men that are sedated in modern society. Before we jump into it, please like, share, and subscribe so that we can share the word about what it looks like to grab hold of masculinity for the benefit of yourself first and society second. Let's go.
To make them satisfied and happy in life, but it is enough to sedate them out of going to seek that in the real world. So porn is a titrated dose of sexual satisfaction. Screens are a titrated dose of what coalitional behavior might be like. Video games are a titrated dose of what status-seeking behavior might be like, also a bit coalitional too. And I think that men are sedated out of what would have ancestrally been a huge issue. We've created a generation of men who are no longer that dangerous, but are largely useless. And
the male sedation hypothesis comes from Chris Williamson of Modern Wisdom, and he says that men today have neglected to fight, have neglected large parts of their masculinity because they are being dripped these little reward systems that are inherent in spicy material online, as well as video games and other ways that men have basically been given an Ativan, a Xanax, or a Klonopin, and that might look like peace when it comes to the young men who would have typically been fighting in revolutions or casting themselves onto new frontiers. And it looks like peace when they've been sedated for so long. But what if? And what if we're already at a place where we actually need that masculinity for the benefit of the defense of what's good, true, and beautiful?
if you have a surplus of sexless men, especially reproductive age sexless men, and they are unpartnered, they tend to cause problems. They societal disruption. They set cars on fire and push over granny. They get together in mobs and try to cause uprisings and such. It's called young male syndrome. It's pretty well studied throughout history. And you can look at a ton of societies if they have had an imbalanced sex ratio that skews male, really not good. This happened, Portugal, 1800s. The first sons were allowed to get married. Subsequent sons were permitted to go on galleon ships to explore the new world, i.e. exported from the country so that they would not stick about, be disruptive, and cause issues.
Why this matters is that men are typically motivated to seek status within their tribe. But what if the status that they would originally have been seeking has been cast onto video games or other modes of accomplishment like followers, likes, subscriptions online? So men who would have ordinarily been in competition with one another in real world circumstances actually are just getting a very slight but consistent reward system from the online interactions that they have or from video games, and they actually no longer seek status within a tribe in real life, but actually do it online. And what costs might that have on society?
The question that I have is, where is all of the incel violence at? Given that we are living in a society which has the highest rates of sexlessness and uncoupledness, especially among reproductive age young men, we should see an in-kind rise in young male syndrome.
Some of the societal signs that this has been true are that men are not pursuing relationships in as much as they used to. Of course, the red pill movement would probably celebrate that in some ways. The time spent on gaming or online is eclipsing time spent in real world active relationships. There's a drop in disruptive behavior. So there isn't as much fighting or revolutionary mindset among a cohort of young men unless they actually decline to spend time online, in which case they might actually pursue their status within gangs or other things like that. And then there's also going to be a drop in agency and self-investment as these men are investing in Skyrim, World of Warcraft. That's my millennial version. I'm not sure what the modern gaming equivalent to those are, but men are seeking that status in gaming or even, just having their drive to pursue a sexual relationship robbed of them because they're able to satiate that need within 15 minutes and with something that remains in their pocket at all times. And so their ability to pursue, conversations with women outside of their activity online might be more limited. And quite frankly, the ability to get rejected and then to seek pursuit the next time does come with practice. And so if that practice doesn't start at a young age, but instead we're pursuing those conversations online, then the rejection doesn't matter as much. You don't see the look on her face. You don't have the social cues that happen when you get rejected in person. And so the cost is less of pursuing women online than it is in person. And we never get that practice-oriented use of what it looks like to be rejected. And then the boldness or the chutzpah to continue forward anyway. That does come with practice. That practice is being deferred till later in life, or maybe not even happening at all.
Dose of what they would have needed to get from the real world previously. And it's not enough to make them satisfied and happy in life, but it is enough to sedate them out of going to seek that in the real world. So porn is a titrated dose of sexual satisfaction. Screens are a titrated dose of what coalitional behavior might be like. Video games are a titrated dose of what status-seeking behavior might be like, also a bit coalitional too.
This is the basics of it. Technology is offering dopamine without risk. Social media is offering status without actually having real-world application. And pornography is offering that type of satiation of what we would ordinarily use to pursue relationships without relational pursuit. These feed the male drives, but in a detached way. And that's why men appear from the outside in to be sedated. A lot of the activity that we would ordinarily see in goal direction among young men has been deferred or may not even be happening at all. Strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times, which hopefully create strong men again. And this is going to be the cultural fallout of the male sedation hypothesis if it's in fact true. The home requires your attention, your persistence, and your willingness to fight to defend those people in your home which you care about most. And so if you're sedated, that may not develop at the right time in life and may prevent you from seeking those honorable relationships in the long run anyway. The church requires men who are proactively strong, not just physically strong, but resilient against stress and tolerant of people coming against them, whether it's intellectually or otherwise. And if that is deferred, then the church becomes a weakened vessel that just allows and tolerates every single thing because there's not been men built to resist any longer. And the culture needs men who stand, defend, and innovate. And this sedation or the dopamine that men are getting by not activating in life is through video games and spicy material online and other things. If they're getting it in that fashion, then they will not innovate in the ways that ordinarily would cause them to have higher status. So the Elon Musks of the world might be a relic of old if we don't get through the male sedation hypothesis. As a therapist, I've been exposed to this quite frequently, but I can say without question that if you want a meaningful life, it does not come on the sidelines. It won't come in witnessing other people pursuing their goals and interests, and it won't come with the likes online or the false sense of status that we get in this modern emasculated world. And so if you're a man and you're listening to this, do not allow the sedation to capture you. Refuse. Stand up. Build your home. Till your field. Live your mission. And without those attempts to find out what that mission is, you won't ever get there because you will miss sometimes. You will shoot at the wrong target. And today is not the day where those weak men are needed. We need strong men to create good times again. And we can do this together. If this type of content from a therapist, a Midwestern midwit like myself can be of any value to you, please like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate you all so much.